Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and we have something incredible to take a look at today. We have another of the W Dragon Jurassic Park releases. We are dwindling now as far as these go. W Dragon recently announced a really cool vintage dinosaur, a vintage T-Rex, and I haven't really heard too much from them as far as other Jurassic Park releases. So I'm thinking there's a chance that maybe the Jurassic Park license will be ending from W Dragon, and we have seen the end of the line, which is a little bit disappointing because there's been some really nice figures and there was potential for so many more. But W Dragon has created unofficial Jurassic Park products in the past, so maybe we'll keep getting some, just not with the official license on them, which I'm okay with. But as far as this particular release, we have the Jurassic Park 3 Tyrannosaurus Rex, and what's super exciting about this is, to my knowledge, there has never been a model of this Rex that I can recall, at least. And that's really cool because it's a Tyrannosaurus from Jurassic Park that has been overlooked. And I would say the only T-Rex really from Jurassic Park that has been overlooked so many times. I mean, we had figures from the Jurassic Park 3 toy line from Hasbro, but we've never had a good model that was definitely based on that Rex. So I'm really excited to see this one here in hand. And you can see the box art is fantastic. Like, this is definitely the type of box art that I would like to just throw up here on a shelf or on my wall or somewhere to display. Beautiful Jurassic Park 3 logo right there with the silhouette of the Rex in the background. If we come up here, even though it's upside down, on the top you've got the mouth area of the T-Rex model. Again, the Jurassic Park 3 logo. If we turn it around here, you've got another shot of the head of the Rex kind of staring us down right there. And then if we turn it to the, well, there we can see this the right way now. But if we turn it around the other way, we've got a shot of the eye of the Rex. And then, where are we? Oh, here we go. If we turn it over here, we've got a shot again of the Tyrannosaurus itself. So let's go ahead, pop this box open, and check this out. So we've got ourselves the base, and the base looks really cool. I love that we have a nice little earthy area here for the base. And then that awesome Jurassic Park 3 logo right there, right on the front of the base. And then we have our T-Rex. And I will say, although the camera's a little bit further away, the lighting's probably not great for this right now, but it definitely looks way nicer here in hand than it did on the initial images. Wow, that went in really smoothly. And there is our absolutely beautiful Tyrannosaurus Rex. One of the biggest things that I had seen online about the final product of this Rex that had a little bit of unhappiness in the customers who received it, it was the coloration of the face. And I can definitely say, although the shadows are kind of killing it right here, you'll really see when we get up close what everybody was kind of complaining about with it, and I can definitely see it here. But I will say that the images that I had seen compared to the in-hand product, it's much different as far as how nice it actually looks. Like, I feel like the images that were taken online, whoever had received it prior, maybe used the flash or something, made it just look way too bright, way brighter than it really is. And here in hand, it definitely looks a little bit nicer, I think, than what I was expecting, which is a huge plus. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight to a closer look at this right now. So here is the head sculpt in a nicer light, and you can really see again that there is a lot of pale coloration to the face, and the promo images had a good bit of a darker coloration here running up over the snout, some darker stripes running down, and I do feel like the prototype looked better and looked better than what we have here as far as the final product goes. But with that said, I still feel like it actually looks really quite nice here. And what's interesting is, after I had seen the images of the other people who had received theirs, I started to kind of Google some images of the JP3 Rex and get a better idea of exactly what it looks like. And some images, like when you see it in the film, the dark stripes are definitely there. They're definitely very vibrant, but when you look at this image, I feel like the actual coloration of that Rex there, which is, I guess, like meant to represent the JP3 Rex, does actually look good and looks similar to this one, especially when you look at the face. Like, I feel like the coloration of the face is actually kind of spot on to that particular image. So this one, although, again, it doesn't look perfect to the prototype, it still looks pretty good. And you can see that what we have is like some nice light greens here, and then a different variation of green running along the mouth line there. And I really do think, again, if they had applied a little bit of darker coloration and then darker stripes there, it would have certainly looked better. But I can definitely say that it still looks much better in hand than I was expecting. And I am in no way, shape, or form let down by this. And in fact, it's actually, again, a good bit better than I was expecting, which is really exciting. But you can see as we move back here into the eye area, we have a few different variations of brown. We have a nice variation of brown that transitions to a darker shade of brown, almost like actually a black. So it kind of transitions from a lighter brown to a black sort of mixture with brown the closer you get to the eye. You can see the eye is painted with a yellow, given a black pupil. And what's really neat about the eye, I don't know how good my camera's going to catch it, but you can kind of see like veins in the eye, which is just insane detailing for something of this size. You can also see how they've applied this really nice kind of dry brushing over this area here, which really highlights the scales, allows some of that lighter green to kind of creep in and out of those darker scales, which I think looks excellent. And you can see that same style of paintwork here for the lower jaw, where they've kind of dry brushed some coloration over the darker tones, over the lighter greens, and it really highlights those scales beautifully with that lighter green creeping through. And you can also see that we've got a nice light dry brushing down here in the lower part of the jaw as well. Once you go inside the mouth, you can see first of all that gloss coat is just shining and glistening beautifully like a mouthful of saliva probably would, but you can also see that we have a really nice realistic tone of color in there, as well as some color variation. And the sculpting and detailing honestly is incredible, especially when you look up there. Look at that. That is just beautiful. Absolutely incredible detail. It's also been given some color variation. I see like almost like some orangish tones in there as well, and definitely seems to have a dark wash, which amplifies the detail quite beautifully in there. And then you can see that the teeth are extremely lifelike. They look 100% like real animals' teeth right there. Very nice tones of color used, very realistic and lifelike tones of color used. Every tooth sculpted individually, painted individually. It all looks as realistic and lifelike as it gets. You can also see the tongue on the inside of the mouth. The tongue is sticking up there. It also looks really good as far as the detailing and the paintwork goes. You have the nostrils. Actually, before I go any further, the nostrils are nicely highlighted with a darker tone of color, and they as well do include a gloss coat, which is really cool to see. Up here on the top of the head, you can see some beautiful scale detail, as well as some more variations of browns and blacks up here, kind of just transitioning back and forth and blending together. It looks really, really neat. As you move back here into the neck of the Tyrannosaurus, you can see some really nice tensing in the neck, as well as some fantastic looking skin texture. Lots of kind of cracks and crevices, and the dark wash that they've applied to it really highlights that area. And you can see down here in the lower part of the throat in general is nicely elaborated here in the sculpt, but you can see tons of like skin wrinkles and skin folds and stuff throughout the entire throat and neck region of the Rex. As you move back up here to the top, you start to get that awesome Jurassic Park male Tyrannosaurus design with the combination of blacks and yellows kind of meshing together, and I really feel like they nailed it as far as the overall appearance to the yellow and black tones and the way that they kind of transition back and forth and kind of squiggle through compared to what the Rex looks like in the film, as well as the promotional image that I had shown earlier. Definitely nailed it as far as that goes. And they've also done a really good job of adding in some alternate tones of greens. Like I can actually see looking at it here, like some slight differences in the different variations of greens added. We also have highlighted the ear up here, which is something I didn't point out. As you move down the body, you can see the shoulder blade right there. As you move down into the arms look great. They're held into the body kind of in a nice natural way, similar to what you would expect to see on a Rex in Jurassic Park. And you can also see that the arms do sport some muscle definition. Again, some more kind of cracks and crevices in there, which look really good. Scoots down the fingers. All of it's highlighted nicely with the dark wash, and you have the beautifully painted nails as well. Really, really incredible detailing. Like, the W Dragon models are honestly unbelievable when it comes to the sculpting aspect. As you move back here into the stomach region, you can see the rib cage nicely showing here in the stomach region, as well as some more skin wrinkles and everything. And the paintwork is honestly absolutely gorgeous. Like, here in hand, it is so lifelike and realistic. Once you get down here into the body, the paintwork is fantastic throughout the course of the body of this Rex. And all of these kind of tones up here on the back with the blacks and the yellows, like it's kind of like a darker yellow, and you also actually have some variations of browns in here. It is all super smooth as far as the application goes. You can see the spinal column there running along the back of the dinosaur. As you move back here a little bit further, you hit the hip region. You do have the hip bone elaborated nicely. You can see a few ridges running along the spinal column of the Rex. Moving down here, you could see a massive thigh with some very nice muscle definition. As you move down a little bit further, you've got the kneecap there. You can see some variations of greens and even some light kind of air brushing of like some black spots and stuff throughout. And they've also dry brushed it over to really highlight the detail. Very subtle dry brushing, but it looks really nice. As you move down, again, you've got the kneecap there, you've got the calf muscle big and bulging right there into the back of the leg, and then moving down, and look at that foot sculpt. Absolutely awesome. Like, that is a beautiful Jurassic Park style Tyrannosaurus foot sculpt, and all of those scoots are extremely nice as far as the way they've highlighted them with those light greenish tones. And you can see all of the scales and the toes and everything are also nicely highlighted with the dark wash. That is just a gorgeous foot sculpt. You've got the nails here on the feet, very nicely painted with a gray, actually like variations of gray. We start out with a dark gray, kind of transition to a lighter gray as we reach the tips of the nails. And you've also got a nice gloss coat on the toes as well. And then as we lead up here into the tail, you can see kind of like the skin stretching off of the tail as that leg is really pulling forward, stretching that skin. And you can also see, again, wrinkling galore, creasing galore. As we move out the length of the tail, we start to have, again, more of that kind of black and brown mixture, just sort of striping down and designing along the course of the tail with more of those yellows showing up here in the top. Very sporadic. There's no specific, like, design. It's just kind of all over the place on this Rex. You have a really nice curve in the tail as well. You can see it from up above as we have almost like a snake-like curve, and then from the side you can see here as it leads up and then curves down near the end of the tail. Very elegant looking curve in the tail, and again the transitioning between colors is so smooth. Really, really nice looking paintwork. You've also got some nice light dry brushing here on the underside to show off how beautiful the detailing aspect is here of the Rex from the underside, and you can see it looks incredible. Really nice kind of skin wrinkling and everything here on the underside. They did get the underside of the Rex stomach leading into the chest correct as far as the larger scaling. I do not expect anything less when it comes to a W Dragon release than accuracy when it comes to what the dinosaur looks like for sure in the film as far as the sculpt goes. And again, you can see the opposing side of the head. You've got that eye again with those veins kind of creeping in there in the rear of the eye, which looks so neat. And yet again, I really do feel like the paintwork, although not perfect to the prototype and not quite as nice as they initially led us to believe it would be, I still feel like it actually looks way better than I was kind of misled to believe, because I feel like some of the images, again, that people were taking of theirs, they must have used the flash or something, just making it look so much brighter than it actually is, because in hand, it really does look a lot nicer than I thought it would be. But the paintwork is really precise as far as the way it looked on the opposing side. Looks pretty much the same over here. As we move back here into the neck, you can kind of see some more tensing in the neck skin here kind of stretching because the Rex has its head turned to the right, but it's not a very drastic turn or anything, so it's not that different from what we saw on the opposing side. You can see some nice mixtures of different variations of greens and stuff, though, with a few more like random black airbrushing spots and stuff. As you move down here, you can see the shoulder blade again. You can also see the arms are in almost the same positioning on both sides. Absolutely beautiful looking sculpt of the hands and arms. Very nice muscle definition. And again, the very nicely painted nails. And then as we move back here into the body, you can pick up on the rib cage again. We have the skin stretching off of the leg here as the leg is kind of pulling back. The Rex is running along, and you can see that very nicely here in the sculpt with the way that the skin is stretching off of the stomach. And you can see how beautiful the detailing of the skin texture is here in the stomach. Look at that. That is honestly just insane. The sculpts of these W Dragon models are honestly unbelievable. As you move back here, again, you've got the hip bone. You've got more really nice muscle definition, super smooth transition to that lighter coloration in the rear of the thigh. You've got the kneecap yet again, really nicely sculpted out and nicely painted throughout the course of the leg with like some black spots and stuff, some variations of greens as you move through the course of the leg, and some nice light dry brushing as well as a dark wash, really highlighting the lighter areas of the sculpt. The calf muscle is yet again bulging over here. It really would be at this point in time because with the Rex running along, that foot over there is up off of the ground. This foot here is supporting the entire weight of the dinosaur, so you definitely see some nice tensing in that calf muscle. Again, a really nice, very Jurassic Park T-Rex style foot sculpt with the very nicely sculpted out and highlighted scoots running down the course of the toes with that nice light green, just like we saw on the previous side. You've got the very nicely painted nails, again with those two variations of grays. And then we move back up here into the tail. You can see some more wrinkling again with the leg kind of pushing into the tail right there. And then we move out the length of that really nice curve in the tail, the beautiful paintwork. It really is a fantastic looking Jurassic Park 3 style Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it is so awesome to finally have a model of this particular Tyrannosaurus from the series. And then the base, again, we've got a nice earthy area. You've got the footprint for the Rex right there. Some nice variation of color in the earthy area. You can even see like some washes that have been applied. So we have some like lighter browns kind of creeping through some of the darker browns. We have kind of like some black that borders around the edges. Of course, the base itself is black. And then you've got that really nice, really vibrant Jurassic Park 3 logo right there, which I just love having it right there on the base. And then the underside shows us again the Jurassic Park 3 logo, Tyrannosaurus Rex in 1/35th scale. We've got the W Dragon logo as well as the limited edition number. This is 54 of 371, which is a pretty random number to have as far as the limited edition number goes, but it is awesome to see that there are so little, and it's such a joy to actually have one in my collection. But a really cool base to go with a gorgeous Tyrannosaurus. And then to apply your Rex to the base, you've got a little peg here. You just slide it in the hole. The foot slides into the footprint perfectly, and it actually goes in really smoothly, like impressively smoothly. But for a size on our Rex, for a length, you are looking at pretty much about 15 inches right on the dot, or about 38, maybe a little bit over 38 centimeters. And then for a height, once it's up on the base, you've got about 6 inches or a little over 15 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line in comparison to our W Dragon Jurassic Park 3 Tyrannosaurus Rex. And you can see that as far as these figures go, the size is pretty nice, although I will say it's definitely the smallest of these W Dragon Jurassic Park pieces that I have in my collection so far. It's the first time I've had like a normal theropod released. I have the Indoraptor and the Mosasaurus prior to this as far as these official Jurassic Park products go. So it's nice to see one of the, Tyrannosaurs here, but I will say it's definitely the smallest one that I have in my collection. And then for another comparison, here is the original Jurassic Park T-Rex that was released by W Dragon, the unofficial version, in comparison to the juvenile, which I believe is what this one is said to be, from Jurassic Park 3 that they have just released. And size-wise, they're actually pretty much the same, I would say. They look like they're pretty much spot on as far as the size goes. I think they could create a really cool diorama of two JP Tyrannosaurs fighting, because if you actually put that one right there, it has that like lean down where it almost is like perfectly positioned to look like the one Rex is biting the other, which is really neat. Definitely would be a fun way to display these, would be to have them in this kind of fighting position. But you can definitely see if you have the original Lost World Jurassic Park male Rex from W Dragon that these are roughly the same size. And then for another comparison, we have the other W Dragon Tyrannosaurus. This is the female version in comparison to the newer male version, and you can see a drastic size difference between these two. So kind of hopefully leading me to believe that this is a juvenile, because the size difference again is pretty big, and I believe this one here is as well in 1/35th scale, but I could be wrong. But regardless, again, another incredible Jurassic Park style Tyrannosaurus from W Dragon in comparison to their newest one. And then for one final comparison, here is the W Dragon Spinosaurus in comparison to the T-Rex. Now, this Spinosaurus will, I guess, technically be replaced with their other official version of the Spinosaurus that's coming out, so we'll have to, bring this Rex back in for another comparison when the other Spino does officially release. But looking at the two together, they definitely create one heck of an incredibly awesome diorama. So this brand new Jurassic Park 3 Tyrannosaurus Rex from W Dragon for the Jurassic Park 3 line is such a welcome addition to my collection. I can't even begin to stress how happy I am to have one, because it's really cool to finally have a model that is definitely and definitively based on that specific Jurassic Park 3 Tyrannosaurus. More often than not, when we get a male T-Rex, if there is actual specific inspiration for the figure, it's usually based on the Lost World Jurassic Park male, and the JP3 male seems to consistently get skipped over and overlooked, so I'm so happy to finally have a model that definitely is meant to represent that specific Tyrannosaurus. And again, I think the sculpt is incredible. Like, they nailed it as far as the appearance goes from the sculpt. The detailing of the Rex is beautiful as well, the very fine detail. It is as highly detailed as you are ever going to find when it comes to a Jurassic Park style Tyrannosaurus. And they've given it a really nice pose with it running along 1 foot up off of the ground, which I really love as well. I love the pose of the Rex. Kind of sad to know that the poor guy was killed by the Spino, but it's really cool to see the Rex in kind of a running position, like maybe it's about to take down some prey or something like that. The paint job as well, in my opinion, is absolutely awesome. I love the paint application applied to this. Really nice, very naturalistic tones of color that look pretty much exactly like the Rex looked like in the film. Again, the only area that, in my opinion, can even remotely be considered maybe a downside would be the face, and the fact that the face doesn't match up perfectly to the prototype images. But I will say that again, here in hand, like when you actually look at the entire thing together, the face is not near as distracting as I once thought it would be, and the actual paint application isn't near as off-putting as many people, I think, believe it probably is. In hand, it really does look really good, and although it's not perfect, again, to what we would see on that Rex or the prototype, it still looks great, if you ask me. I think honestly, every ounce of this Tyrannosaurus is just incredible, and another awesome addition to my W Dragon collection. And then you have the really nice base, and I love the fact that this one actually has kind of like a little earthy area there, as well as that really nice Jurassic Park 3 logo, such an iconic logo for that film, and it all just ties together to make one of the nicest looking W Dragon collectibles that they have released yet. So if you are interested in this, I will include a link in the description to Sugo Toys, where I purchased mine, because it is a great website and they probably have the cheapest prices around, I think, for these W Dragon Jurassic Park pieces. So make sure you check the link in the description, head on over to Sugo Toys, pick yourself up this awesome Jurassic Park 3 Tyrannosaurus from W Dragon, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.